Let's head over to Cinema 4D and start to place the lights that we have from this schematic into our actual scene. And as you see, I have my mountain range set up, and I'm going to put the box in just a moment. But what I'm going to do, let me go ahead and brighten my screen up a little bit. I'm going to drop a camera in, and I'm going to make sure that we're looking through this camera. So I'm going to go to Camera, and we're going to go to Use Camera, and we're going to choose the camera we just placed in here. We can, of course, name it if we want to. Call it Hero. And it says Hero right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the camera. So I'm going to go to the focal length and just play around with some of the different views here to see if I'm going to get the angle that I want. As you see here, this super wide really gives us a nice forced perspective and makes that mountain range look really far away. So that might be an option. And before I go ahead and put a protection tag on this camera, I'm going to go ahead and grab the box and put it in position as well. This will really help us out even further to determine what the camera focal length is going to be. Do something like this. And now I'll go back to my camera and see what I'm going to do here. So we're going to go to a wide angle. That's just a little too close. Let's try a normal lens. That's not going to do it, but I'll push out a little bit. I don't like that. Portrait. Let's back up again. Not going to do the trick, just not working in this particular instance. And nope, that's just not going to do it either. It's really, really too close. And that's extremely close. So, of course, the best one, it seems like it's going to be super wide. And it gives me the ability to really convey the scale of the mountains better than any of the other options here. So I'm just going to slowly zoom out until I get a nice frame of the shot and maybe rotate around just a little bit. Take this box and I'm going to rotate this as well. Because if we don't set this up right, well, we're going to not really have a cool shot. And this really helps to inform how we're going to light this scene. And I'm going to just tilt it a little bit more so it's giving us a nice perspective going this direction. And I'll push out just a tad more and over. And I think that's going to be a nice angle. Okay, maybe even bring the gum a little further or closer to us. So we're going to grab this Z-axis guy and just push it down. Make sure the gum is the focal point and rotate it just a little bit more. And I think that might be a good shot. All right. I might play with the mountain range a little bit later on. We might, continue working with the sculpt. We might move the box down. We could still make a lot of those decisions later on. But for now, let's go ahead and right click on our camera. And we're going to go to Cinema 4D tags and drop some protection on that guy. So he's now a witness protection. So let's go ahead and save as always. And we can start to put our lights in. So let's go ahead and drop in our first light. So this would be our key light. So we'll go ahead and name it. And we'll move these guys later on. We're going to go ahead and drop in another light, which would be our fill. Let's go ahead and add our rim. And once again, we can change these at will whenever we want to. We're going to go ahead and put in our first kicker. So we'll call this guy kicker. And we'll just call it left. He'll be over here. And kicker right. If we need to add more lights or if we have too many lights, doesn't matter. The plan does not have to be stuck with. We can always play around with that later on. So let's go ahead and grab our key light. And we're going to move that guy into position. So let's grab our camera, click right here so we can temporarily turn off our protection. And we're going to grab our key light again and we're going to move it into position. We want to make sure we emphasize that deep shadow that you usually see on mountains. Put it maybe right about here. And a little higher. We'll also play around with the intensities later on as well. For now, we just want to put these lights where they belong. We'll put our fill over here and to the front. Help us get some of those forms defined. And we can already tell this is going to be way, way too bright. But we'll deal with that later on. Gonna just see where all the lights are so far. Let's grab our rim and let's toss him in the back and lift him up. It's going to really help push the gum out. So we're going to put this right behind the gum box. and lower, like so. Let's grab our kicker left, and he's going to be behind the mountain. But once again, nothing is in concrete. And kicker right is going to be over here. And let's go ahead and click on this little guy here again, just to get back to our hero angle. And just see what we have here to make sure the lights are in position. I think that looks pretty good. Of course, it's super washed out. And now that everything is in place, we can start to play around with actually controlling the intensities and start thinking about colors for these lights. All right. Now, you might be wondering, why do this before textures? Well, sometimes when you are lighting, you want to think like a painter. And a lot of painters paint in grayscale first because you want to deal with something known as value. You want to be able to squint your eyes and define the forms without any color first so that you know everything looks right. So we're going to make sure this mountain range looks, nice and shadowy, and we're going to have the box pop out from there. And then once all the lights are done, we'll be able to apply our colors and textures with more confidence, knowing that everything's in place and all we need to do is then tweak. So let's go ahead and save our work, and we'll go ahead and start playing around with the values of our lights in the next lesson.